All right. T minus 30 seconds. That's right. All right, thank you very much. All right. Welcome everybody to Geezy Truth News. All right. It's going to be a very interesting show tonight. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the GTN network. Let me tell you, it's going to be an interesting show. I got my audio engineers are contacting me, telling me some information that I think I should relay to you guys. Sounds like we may have some technical difficulties on tonight's show. We shall see how that works out. Alright, well thank you very much, audio engineers. Thank you. How is everybody doing, huh? Happy Friday. Let me tell you, so there's going to be a lot of things. To be quite honest, ladies and gentlemen, I did a lot of research throughout the weekend, but you know, it's all kind of in my head. I didn't really write anything down, so the show's gonna be a hoo-ha of behoove ride. So it's gonna be interesting. Got a lot of things to talk about. You know, it is November 18th, 2016. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the time is going faster than a NASCAR race car driver. You know, it is like, what is going on? Speed of time, man. Things are going real fast. So, where shall we begin? There is a lot of things going on. People are having a lot of talks. Callers call in. We got a lot to talk about. People call in, ask her questions. Some serious stuff. A lot of world news, a lot of US news. It's some trippy stuff. Now then, let's see what we got on the table here. All right, well, thank you very much for that. Now then, where shall we begin? So, welcome to Geezy Truth News, everybody. Gonna have to do a lot of talking here. A lot of news. So where shall we begin? Let's start with the corporate media. So that is quite the funny thing going on. So the corporate media is freaking out because they realize that they have lost all credibility. You know, just lie after lie after lie. How many Americans can, you know, take that before it's enough? So let me tell you. They have been freaking out because, you know, they spewed all these lies. They say all these 10 minutes before the final election, they say 90% chance of Hillary winning. And then, what do you know, lo and behold, a different answer comes up. So, and there's, I'm sure you could pull up thousands and thousands, if not more, lies of them just spewing garbage. So, now, it's quite hilarious because I read an article the other day that said that they were asking for money, asking for donations, which is pretty ridiculous. I don't know anybody. Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody donate to them? According to an article, 7%, only 7% of America even listens to them anymore. So that's good. I'm glad to hear that, people are waking up and realizing that it's not a useful source of information anymore, because they just keep lying and just say whatever they want to say, and it just don't work out the way it does. So soon enough, hopefully, the less ratings, if nobody watches it, then they're gonna go out, right? They're gonna run out of business, and because that's the whole thing, is they need ratings. That's why they do all these stupid semantics of doing whatever, some kind of kids bop crap that they try to entertain with people, and it's just not cutting out. So that is just hilarious. They are, who knows what they're saying? I don't even know. I do know that they're promoting, all of its lies, but they're saying that Donny Boy is a racist and he's this and that, and everybody knows that. Has been hearing about that and all that. My question to the people, to them, is if do you want people to just come to this country whenever they feel like it? They could just come over and do whatever, and whatever, open borders, let everybody come in. You want everybody to come over here? If your answer is no, then you're just as much of a racist as Donny Boy, because that's what he says, and that's what people say. So if you don't want random people coming to this country, and by the way, I want to make this point clear, that I'm not against people coming here legally. You come here legally, that's great. You follow our rules, you leave your, background and solely be an American. You have to be, that's completely fine. You come here legally and you be a United States of America citizen, that's great. But when people come here illegally, why the whole point of that is that they don't have rights, is because they came here illegally. Why would people that come here illegally have rights? Isn't that the whole point of having law and order? Is so you can't just go around everywhere you feel like it, where you want to go and what you want to do? That's not how things work. There's a book. There's a few books you could read about them. It's quite interesting. So there's that little tidbit. Obama, everybody been hearing about Obama. There's a lot of things going on about that. He went on his Freedom European tour, whatever that he's doing, going over there preaching who knows what. I'm sure nothing that resembles the American people. And a couple interesting things that happened. I'm sure there's a lot of things, but a couple things that I read is, first of all, when he went over to Germany, he said kind of an odd thing over there, where he said, something along the lines of the people protesting there is, okay, like they, keep protesting, which it's not very presidential. It's kind of he worded it kind of odd. So he went over to Germany and said, keep protesting or whatever. And obviously, and we'll talk about Germany later. Remind me about that if I forget. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that he went over to Greece. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, he was not welcomed warmly. When he entered Greece, there were people that literally said, F off. There's signs of people saying, like, we don't need you, get out of here, what are you doing here, whatever. Because people are just sick and tired of the globalist agenda. They see that the U.S. broke free from the tyranny of globalist propaganda and all this ridiculousness that's been happening. And they're still trying to undermine the election. But yeah, you went over to Greece. They had signs. There's signs of Greek signs saying go back. We don't need you, whatever. And the president of Greece made a rule. He enacted a new law saying you can't do that. But obviously by that time Obama already left, so I think he already got the picture. And I wonder how he feels about all that. I wonder if he feels proud or what's his bibbity bop. So, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there's so many things to talk about. There's just, information spewing all over the place. So, notice, in terms of the election results, notice how Hillary Clinton is still trying to, undermine it a little bit, and people are still trying to do all these things, George Soros, the protest, the ridiculousness that's been happening on the streets. Notice how it doesn't happen to any Republican states. It's only happening in Democratic states. What are you protesting in a Democratic state that won? Don't you think that the people that should do it in a red state, where you would think that they would do a change or whatever the case is? And so, anyway, notice how she's not contesting it, because she's not contesting that. Hillary Clinton is not officially contesting the election results, because she knows damn well that they know they rigged it, and there's lots of fraud, and there's a bunch of, so that's why she's not contesting. Otherwise, if it was legitimate, don't you think that she would have contested it on the first day? And so all that's going on, which is pretty hilarious. And so it's they said that Donny Boy was gonna when he wins, that the market is gonna crash and all that, in the finance sector. You look at the stock market, it skyrocketed 300 plus points when he won. I mean, it has been skyrocketing. People are still complaining for some reason, but their wallets are getting bigger. I mean, they seem like it's working out for them. So I don't know if people, they see what they want to see. Guys, a good friend of mine told me a nice little anecdote. He told me the way he explained things is that there's a lot of people out there who would understand the dilemmas at hand, but because they have a blindfold on, they don't see anything that's right in front of their face. And so all they need to do is take the blindfold off, and it's that easy and simple. You will see it quite clearly. So you just got to open your eyes. I mean, it's right in front of your face. Look at all the wars that we've started since World War II. Look at all the the agendas that we've been doing for the money junkies that aren't doing anything for us. It'd even be one thing if the money junkies even did a damn thing for us. Maybe it wouldn't be so obvious. But these guys, you just get power hungry. You just get the ego. I mean, I have no idea. It's a terrible, terrible thing. So, callers call in. Let's see what we got. I might have some correspondence contacting the show a little bit later. And, we'll just keep on going. There is so much stuff. Let's see what else we got. Oh, well, about Germany. I mean, people are there. Oh, there's a lot of interesting things that are going on around that region. First of all, with Angela Merkel, she is not very well liked right now by the German people. Her own party said, "Don't even bother trying to get reelected because you're definitely you're done." And so, and interestingly enough, she still is trying to keep on with the globalist agenda, still trying to do the thing. And the surface area of that is that you think that you're trying to do good by letting people in, but unfortunately that's not how it works. I mean, you look at what's going on. It is terrorizing Europe to pieces. It's blowing it by bits. It's just not working out. So the people of Germany, we'll see come around election day. They definitely don't want Angela. We'll see who's the next person. It's just not working out there. And there's a lot of things going on in France as well. They're calling it the Frexit. There's all these countries are starting to get it. They're sucking the common folk, the regular people of these countries. They're getting taxed the hell out of. They're getting layers and layers of government. They're getting taxed 50%, and they cannot. They realize they can't deal with this anymore. All their funds are getting funneled into the machine that doesn't do anything. It goes to the top elite. It doesn't do anything, and people are finally waking up, which is great. And so they're calling it Frexit, because now France is getting to the point of saying, you know what, we're out of here. So hopefully there's a ripple, with the Donny Boy shindig. And people are already saying, oh, Donny Boy this, Donny Boy that. You know what? He hasn't even officially become president yet. He hasn't got in office yet. So calm down. People saying, oh, he's not doing anything or this or that. Calm down. He's still trying to settle funds with his other problems, which, by the way, he settled that Trump University scandal out of court and paid $25 million. And I think that's a smarter choice, just get it out of the way, because, I mean, this is small potatoes now compared to what he's going to have to deal with now. And let me tell you, he's going to need a lot of help. He's going to need help from all of us. So, and it is just amazing. Again, with the bippity bop of Obama, he is. They're trying to take away independent media. They're saying that it's just not working, and it is ridiculous. I mean, to say, I mean, it is just, it's ridiculous. You're trying to take independent news away. We gotta, I mean, what is this guy saying? Our own president is saying that we need to, he says we need to take a stand against fake news. You gotta be freaking kidding me. This is the guy. Last days of him being president, this is what he's saying. He's saying, oh, We need to take a stand against fake news. You gotta be kidding me. That is the most hypocritical siznop I've ever heard in my life. You gotta just be a real piece of work to just figure all this out. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. So, and obviously there's plenty of articles, plenty of information out there. You know, the reason why I'm jumping back and forth here is because I want to just say everything that I can. Something that you may have missed. You may know everything. You probably know more than I do. But I'm just trying to say everything that I know, because that is the whole point of humanity, is so we can teach each other and we learn more. And information gets discussed and it gets across people and we become better as a whole. That's kind of the deal here. And so, to cover that nutshell up is just, do your own research. People have stopped researching on themselves. We're all researchers. We're all United States of America citizens, proud patriots that want to help this country and want to improve this country and yada yada. This is very important. And so I gotta put in the time, gotta put in the work. We're all very busy. I'm trying to put in the work in. A lot of people thought I was gonna stop after the election was over. Hell no. The election is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. We got so much time. We got these couple of years ahead of us. Let me tell you, ladies and gents, we got a whole lot of work. So do everything that you can, and we gotta just keep doing what we gotta do. So there's so much information. There's video proof of all the corporate medias lying and faking all kinds of stuff. And then here you go, Obama towards the end of his term is saying that we need to fight against fake news. Gee, really? Okay, right on. Yeah. That sounds good. Just outrageous. It really is. So, all those, you really just, it's like the people who are like, oh, this is so ridiculous. The people who are like, yeah, you got to be conspiracy theorist and blah, blah, blah and all this. Let me tell you something. You think that they're so good. You look back, I'm sure we all know a bit of history here. You look back to World War II. You look back at Nazi Germany. What do you think that they were saying when Hitler was in office? You think he was like, okay, we're gonna be this and terrorize and bad and start war and all this? No. Look back in the documents. Look back in the radio station. Look back in the news articles. They were saying how great they were, how the best they were, and how they're gonna, how we're the good guys. We're the good guys. Just trust us. We're the good guys. Really? How can you believe in your own government when they say that they're the good guys and then this happens? This happens over and over again towards agendas that are very obvious like this. You see that it's just going nowhere and just terrorizes everything. So you can't have those tactics, and you have to pay attention. We got we have a lot of things to talk about. What can I tell you guys? In the technology sector, in the military sector, you heard about the F-35s. The F-35s are unfinished. There's still so many tests to do. I mean, they've been working on these for years, and they're getting nowhere. They're spending... You should see the amount of money. You should see the amount of money that they're spending on these F-35s, and they're getting nowhere. You want to know a number? $400 billion. 400 billion with a B. Okay? And nothing with these F-35s, none of their a lot of their tests are not getting sufficient results. There's a lot of problems with a lot of the schematics of the planes. It says the Pentagon about the F-35 crisis as Pentagon's top weapon testing official warns plan to put unfinished $400 billion fighters into $400 billion fighters into service puts pilots at significant risk. Okay? I mean, this is just ridiculous. I mean, here you go, you look around the corner at Putin's Russia and China, you see that these guys are spending a lot less in getting results. That's another thing people need to understand. A lot of people are like, oh, we have the best military in the world because we spend the most money. No, that's not how things work. You can spend as much money as you want, and if it doesn't go anywhere, then obviously it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't work. So you could spend $400 billion on fighter jets. If those $400 billion fighter jets don't work, then all that money just went to contractors and the top 1%, the scumbags, the money junkies that just get the money and say, whoops, what are they going to say? They have all these excuses, and then when push comes to shove, they have nothing to show for it. So the bottom line is that there needs to be transparency, because there's a huge problem between the trust between the American people and the government. And like I said before, to my new listeners, to anybody who's paying attention, it's not F the government. The government is good. It's the people that have hijacked our government and have turned it into shiznop, and it's just not working. There's nothing where they've turned it into schmoop mop. Nothing is working, and it's just a disaster. Obviously. I mean, a little research will just tell you. So, and it's very ironic. What can I say? It's very ironic. People are saying a whole lot of things. There's a lot more interesting stuff out there. It's, you just gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. Lots of investigations going on. Lots of information being passed around. Callers call in, and yeah, it's pretty trippy stuff. A lot of people I can understand a lot of the people that are frightened, that don't really know what's gonna happen or what's a lot of scary things going on or whatever. I just want to say, you gotta keep it cool. You gotta relax. You can't freak out. These protests are just outrageous. I mean, there's seems like irrefutable proof of. Looks like we have a caller. Oh, it's one of my correspondents, Totally Tim.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, great. How are you doing?
How are you doing, Geezy?
Fantastic. It's Friday. Middle of the month. It's, time is flying by, and some interesting times. What about you, Totally Tim?
Well, that means, same, man. That means you're staying busy and doing good.
Yeah, that's right.
What have you been talking about today?
Well, I've just been talking about a whole lot of tidbits from, the world scene and the U.S. scene, talking about Europe, talking about a whole lot of things.
Well, fill me in.
Corporate media. Well, what would you like to talk about?
Dude, you started off, man. You started off.
Okay, well, I mean, I wanted to talk about, what's the next thing? I was just explaining how Europe, earlier I was saying how Europe is finally, Donny Boy's victory, it sent ripples over across Europe. And a lot of countries over there are realizing that, we could do this too. We don't have to accept this globalist agenda that, all this money, they're getting like 50% taxes. They're getting all their money funneled away into layers of government that go to the top, and it does nothing for the people or the country. And it's just a huge disaster.
A lot of countries are like, it's about time. It's about time we get some guy with brains leading the U.S. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. And
like every single one of them, Putin, the prime minister, everyone except for North Korea.
Interesting.
Anything from North Korea.
I wonder what North Korea has to say about it.
Well, I mean, they got to get a translator first, but they got their hands tied with what they're going through right now.
What's that?
They have their hands tied with what they're going through right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, what are they going through? They're just going through a communist regime bull sneezy, right?
They're always doing something. They're always trying to get in the middle of everything, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, right.
I heard a pretty good, I mean, I know that, like, Reddit is, like, not very, like, resourceful at all, but, like, a hella funny thing came up. It was Donald Trump only accepts $1 salary for being president, and then someone responded with, man, he'll do anything to get out of paying taxes.
Yeah, well, that's pretty amazing, isn't it? That's pretty amazing. That just shows you how much he can't be bought. That shows how little he cares about money.
Well, dude, he's already done it all, man. He's trying to change the world. That's kind of what I want to do, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's the biggest thing. That's why the establishment is freaking out. That's why they have their underwear on their heads and not knowing what the hell to do. They're freaking out because they realize that he can't be bought. He's legit, and there's nothing they can do about it now. And so they're pretty much running around yelling a Hail Mary, and they have no idea what the hell to do.
Yeah, seriously. Everyone, all the people that have been in charge of the White House for the last 12 years are just they got their hands tied, man.
Mm-hmm.
They got their freaking hands tied.
Yep.
What else is going on with him? Like, they're all... What are they saying? Like, he's already, like, the most successful president, and he hasn't even become president yet.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, he hasn't done anything yet. He's not in office yet, so we'll see. One thing that did happen was that... I don't know if you know about that Trump University scandal. Well, he just paid that off out of court and paid $25 million, and so that's settled now. So that's no problem. So all the people that were complaining about the Trump University scandal, he looks like they settled it already. So
wait, he owns a university?
Well, he had a university called Trump University.
Uh-huh.
And everything was fine. Everything was great. The funny thing is that all the people that went there, they loved it and said, oh yeah, it was the greatest thing ever. They gave it 5-star reviews, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then when he started running for president, all of a sudden there, I don't know how many people, it was like a couple people or more, started saying, oh, it was a scandal, it was a fraud, you just stole my money, I didn't learn anything, blah, blah, blah. After they wrote the 5-star review. After they wrote the 5-star review, after they said how much they loved it, after blah, 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 that when he runs for president, when they went and started doing all this suing and all this. Oh, can't believe all this is happening. And then, Trump doesn't have time to be doing all this in court and all this stuff. It's a small potatoes. So he's just settled it out of court. Said, you know what? I don't have time for this. 25 million, boom.
Yes, dude. Man, that kind of goes back to, I saw parking in downtown Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Like $35 parking. When I'm scanning my credit card for $35 parking, I'm gonna hang up my suit and I'm retiring. You know what I mean? And he's doing that. He's doing that with millions. He's like, oh yeah, just a couple mil, just no problem.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, because he's got a lot bigger problems to deal with now. I'm sure he's every day is probably a long study session between him and his correspondents. I'm sure he's learning a lot of information that that a president needs to know. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, not officially yet, obviously, but I'm sure he's getting some specifics that are
well, I'm
keeping him busy.
I think the biggest thing that he's doing is with the lobbyists.
Yeah.
Like not making that a revolving door. It's like, oh, okay, so we effed up, and now we're just gonna quit, and then when it gets good again, we're gonna come back, and then it's just. That's not going to be happening anymore. So I think that's going to be a lot bigger than people realize.
Yeah.
And as far as that school thing goes, those people were probably doing drugs, drinking, like not really learning anything in the first place, and then they just God. Why does everybody hate this guy so much? I mean, I know it goes back to like what the mainstream media made of him, but
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just propaganda. I mean, the people who are listening to the propaganda, the corporate media is all full of lies. They'd say that he's racist and that he's misogynist, sexist, whatever, all these xenophobic, all these random stupid things that they have no merit or evidence of, but yet they all, called him and all this ridiculousness, and, obviously, that's not the case. And what I was mentioning earlier on the show is that, okay, to the people that think Donny Boy is racist, I want to ask them, are you okay with people just coming to this country and doing whatever you want? Anybody can come over and leave and whatever. Do you want that?
Or God forbid, make more babies.
Or if they say no, then they are racist too, according to the logic of the corporate media. So they're as racist as Donny Boy. So that's pretty much it. And then they should realize that that's not the case.
Done any interviews on like CNN or Fox or anything, like it's just like screw you guys. You guys are just gonna twist my words like a bad high school relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that's all they did. They didn't let him finish his sentences. They cut it halfway through to, make it seem like he was this horrible human being.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like for example, they said, or Donny Boy said, I want $5 million to do the debate, and then they cut it there. They didn't let him finish the sentence of, and I want to donate that $500 to hurt vets.
Right.
So they made it seem like he just wanted $5 million to do something that he already had to do in the first place, and they didn't even let him finish his sentence.
Yeah.
A lot of with the immigration stuff too, and all the setups, dude. I'm so sick of this crying, whiny protest BS, man. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. I mean, the hypocrisy is real, and they just they had to find a clip from like 10 years ago plus to find 15 years ago to find like a locker of him in the locker room saying, "I'm gonna grab that pussy." If that's the worst, I mean, trust me. I mean, if that's the worst you could find on a guy, then believe me, he's qualified.
Yeah, seriously. For real, man. I'm just so happy, dude. Like when I saw that he won Florida, I was jumping up and down, man. I was so excited because I knew that he would just take it. I mean, I knew he was gonna win anyways, but that's when it
Yeah, well, you never know. I mean, obviously we all wanted him to win, but I mean the rigging of the elections and the fraudulency. I mean, you just don't know. But here's the thing, is that they could have. I mean, dude, you look 10 minutes before the election results. All the corporate media were saying Hillary had a 90% chance of winning. I mean, the lies are just flat out is right there.
Yeah, and then at 9:20 it changed in the other direction.
Yeah, exactly.
90% Donnie boys are like, oh yeah, we have
exactly.
Sorry, guys.
And the reason why is because they wanted to rig the election for Hillary, but they realized it's such even with all the rigging and even with all the fraudulency, Donnie Boy still won. And it's because they knew that if they were to, rig it for her to win, there would have been a freaking war. There would have been a civil war because too many people would have been pissed off. I mean, if 3/4 of the United States votes for Donnie Boy, then I mean, 3/4 of the United States is not going to accept Hillary as president. So that's why that happened the way it did.
Yeah, I just love the way that they're crying when they put so much emphasis on Donald Trump saying like, oh, well, if she wins, then I'll address it when that happens.
Right.
And now that he won, they're throwing a huge fit. They're the biggest hypocrites I've ever seen. 30% of Hispanics and Latinos voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't 100% landslide. Good for them, man. Good for them for seeing through the BS of the mainstream media.
Oh, big time.
Letting Donald Trump finish his sentences. And you know what? They heard that he only wanted to get the people that were committing crimes out.
Yeah, exactly. Keyword is illegal.
If you're illegal, but you're still paying taxes, you're not committing crimes, and you're going to work, then stay. We want you here.
Yeah.
Said that. He legitimately said that, almost word for word. I mean, I don't have the video.
Right.
Say it like exactly how he said it, but
yeah.
Well, okay, so you're in the medical industry, have you been hearing anything about this year's flu shot at all?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, we could talk about flu shots and vaccines and the big pharma all day. I mean,
I kind of wanted to bring it up, and just to start you off, and then I'll give you a chance to speak. So this year's flu shot is several times stronger than any of the last year's flu shot. It was brought into warning that it causes dizziness, lightheaded, headaches, muscle aches. Like I know that both of my parents got it, and my dad's been sick for like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Go figure, right? Like they're getting older, they're almost 60, so they got to start watching this stuff, what they're putting in their bodies. They make it from dog kidneys, they get broken flu cells off their kidneys, and that's what they put in the shots. But I think you got a little more information on this stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can start and end everywhere. I mean, the pharmaceutical, it's called, so I'm sure you're familiar with the military industrial complex, right? And what we have now is the medical industrial complex, and it's just the same. It's pumping money, it's pumping crap, it's pumping poison, and pumping just to make money, and it's all fake, it's all damaging, it doesn't do anything, it doesn't help anybody, and it's all just in the name of profit. I wouldn't delve into the conspiracy that they're pumping all these drugs to keep us down or keep people sedated or whatever. I mean, yeah, that's plausible, but the main issue at hand is, okay, it happened. Let's assume that it happened on accident. Things happen. Okay, you get the pharmaceutical companies, you get the hospitals, you get the big pharma, and you add all that together, and it keeps growing until this, that's why corporations were supposed to dissolve in 20 years, because then you can't stop them. They keep going, they keep getting more money. I mean, this power and money thing, it drives people. You can't stop. People get addicted to this. And bottom line is, it's they keep pumping out new pharmaceutical drugs and new vaccines every year and all this stuff, and it's all just to make money, and you got to cut the head off the beast because it's not sustainable and it doesn't work. and it damages people, and it just, there's no proof. The number one proof that they have is the CDC. That's the number one proof. Whenever you look at any of this information, any of these facts, they point to the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control. And you look at the CDC, and they have been caught smudging their papers and constant fraudulent research over and over again. And to see that they're sourced, cited as the main source is a complete joke. It's laughable and it's ridiculous. People, it should be a bigger deal than it is, but I think people are slowly waking up to that as well.
Well, and so just to touch base, so I've known you a while, and you've known me a while. I don't think I've ever seen you sick. I can't even remember the last time I was sick. The last flu shot I got was in 9th grade when they forced me to get it in middle school at Canyon Park.
Right.
That was the last time I ever got a flu shot. And just to go off, so I worked in the food. Just to go off of the how big of a hoax some of this BS is that people hear and believe for whatever reason. They do one search online, and you find better information than what they're drilling in your heads. Well, I worked in the food service industry for quite some time, and we had deli meat, right? And so, a pregnant lady comes in and she's like, "Oh, can you toast that? I'm pregnant," And they pound it into their heads that deli meat somehow harms the baby. It's like, I'm sorry, newsflash, we're having babies in the forest, for 100,000 years. I don't think a little bit of turkey meat is going to do anything.
Yeah.
And it's just I just don't buy it. Some Asian girl in my philosophy class brought in vitamins like vitamin D and stuff like that, and she brought some other thing, and it was that vitamin that helps your muscles. It starts with an M. I forget what it is, but I was like, yeah, I just don't buy the whole vitamin D thing. I just don't buy it, And same thing with the whole pregnant story. So it's all fear tactics, man. I don't know what to do about it. It's like, I'm not that stupid, but some people in my family are, and I just feel bad.
Well, the vitamin D is obviously very real. You're talking about vitamins and minerals and all that. That's obviously real. You can't you can't fake things like that. I'm more talking about just the there's no need for these for a flu vaccine every year, or at all. Obviously I can't say anything because I'm not a medical doctor. I can't advise anybody to do anything. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't have a practicing license or anything like that. But you have to do your research. You have to do your own homework. It's obvious to see that a lot of these problems. You look at all these problems: autism, diabetes, all these serious conditions that are destroying people's lives, and for some reason nobody knows what's going on or what the problem is. It's right in front of your face, and people do. Or why is it? Back 100 years ago, autism didn't even exist. If it did, it was 1 in 1,000 people, 1 in 100,000 people. Now it's 1 in 4 people, if not more. 1 in 4 people are autistic, diagnosed autistic.
In the Seattle area, it's the most prevalent in the Seattle area, by the way.
What's that?
It's the most prevalent in the Seattle area. We have the highest autistic rate in the nation.
Wow. Yeah. It's because we're pretty flu shot happy around here, I guess. I don't know. We stick each other all over the place, and God knows I've been stuck plenty of times. And I think it reduces your IQ. I think it destroys your a lot of damages you. You got a lot of all these problems, and it's just not healthy. You look at the ingredients. Just look at the ingredients inside these things: formaldehyde and bovine excrement and all kinds of crap. They had mercury and they allegedly took that out, but it's still there. And you got to be freaking kidding me.
Yeah, seriously. Just take one. People just don't even read that stuff, though, and that's the whole point of talking about this: is to raise awareness, look into what you're getting. If you're older or super young or have children, really double, triple, quadruple think of like getting vaccines and shots and stuff like that, because there's really not, that too much research that goes into them before they go into your arm.
No, it definitely does not. It definitely does not. And as a matter of fact, they fib the research. They find they find that the research is damaging. They find that it's related to there's a great documentary called Vaxxed, where it shows that there's whistleblowers now that are saying, yes, I was part of the CDC, yes, I was part of this, I was part of that, and yeah, we did fraud this research, these papers. It obviously showed that it was a direct link to autism, and yet somehow, we fibbed it, because it's all about money. It's all about money. Why would anybody do this? It's because they want to push the drug in. They want to sell $1 billion worth of this drug, and they want that money in their pocket because they want to be the, richest or the king or whatever the hell they want to do, whatever their agenda is. It's just
water. It could just be water, and you just never know it. Paying $20 for a shot of water.
Yeah, well, it's pretty outrageous.
Yeah.
It's pretty outrageous.
Like, what's our counteraction to, like, healthcare nowadays? Like,
I think with the vaccine community, you can't really. There's a lot of strong proponents of the vaccine community, and I've heard of this called green vaccines. And I'm almost willing to look into that. That sounds good. Green vaccines, because the problem with all this crap that we have right now is just, this is terribly, terribly bad. It makes no sense. People say, oh yeah, it makes sense, but it doesn't. You're stabbing yourself with a bunch of chemicals. You should see the long list. You think that makes sense? And then and then what? You feel good after that, or you feel happy? What's your excuse? You get sick and you're sick. Everybody that I know who takes these flu shots is sick. And like you said, I never get sick, and I try to avoid them as much as I can. And it's just it just does not work. You got to be informed. You have to do your research. You have to look into these whistleblowers that are trying to tell you that it is all fake and that it's all fraudulent and that it's just a giant terrible lie to make more money.
Yeah, and then not really too much more to say about that stuff. Just take your probiotics and don't take vaccines.
Yeah, I think that naturopathic medicine is should be looked upon a lot more seriously. Because medical doctors, MDs, they don't know anything about natural medicine. They don't even have one class about it. They don't study anything. And if you look into a lot of these medical degrees, they learn about all this bullshit and all this paperwork and a lot of these terms, but they don't learn anything about nutrition. They have maybe like one lecture or one little thing. They don't learn anything about a real human nutrition and factual data. They just learn all the mumbo jumbo, and we all know what the reality is. Once they become doctors, all they are is just drug pushers, because then the pharmaceutical lobbyists go and push their drug to the doctor and tell the doctor to push the drug on the patient. And that is the medical industrial complex in a nutshell.
Get them hooked on benzos and God knows what else. Even worse, like some, I don't know. Go figure, though. I'm actually taking a nutrition class next quarter.
Good. Nice.
Because I like to take useful electives, so...
Good.
I don't like to take golf or anything like that.
Golf is fun. Golf is a pretty fun sport.
Yeah, but it's a waste of money if you're going to school for it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, definitely. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. They actually have a golf class.
That reminded me...
People take this and, I can just sit back and sip on my wine while other people, dick around with the golf ball.
Yeah, that's amazing. That really is amazing.
Yep. So, Any predictions on the upcoming economy?
Well, they're gonna raise the interest rate, so that's gonna, you know, that may just crash the stock market. You know, Janet Yellen from the Federal Reserve is, I think she recently said that they're going to raise, do an interest rate hike relatively soon here. So the economies may just crash then. And I think after that, you know, when Donny Boy, you know, it just depends on what Donny Boy does. In my opinion, when he becomes in office, when he gets into office, in my opinion, the highest, one of the best decisions would be to do what JFK wanted to do with Executive Order 11110.
What do you mean? Fill me in.
Well, so pretty much so JFK in 1963, I believe it was the July 1963, JFK wanted to do Executive Order 11110, which was to bring back, you know, I'm not going to get all of this correct. I want people to research all this, but it's very important because JFK wanted to do this executive order, and then a few months later, in November, he got assassinated. And a lot of people believe, and I believe that he got assassinated because of that executive order, and that was to bring back currency to the government level, and not have to rely on the Federal Reserve. The executive order was to pretty much bring back the greenback, and which was the American currency that Abraham Lincoln enacted. He brought during the Civil War to fund the war. Abraham Lincoln needed to he enacted the greenback, and then obviously after he got assassinated, obviously then they repealed it, took away the greenback, and then like I said, in 1963, JFK tried bringing that back, and then we all know what happened. And I think, you know, I believe that the best decision right here would be Donald Trump needs to bring back the executive order 11110.
Yep. Well, that'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah, I mean we definitely don't know what he's gonna do. We definitely don't know how the economy's gonna go, what's going to happen. I mean, anything can happen. We all know that a crash is imminent. We all know that there was supposed to be a crash a long time ago. I mean, it's an inflated bubble. It's a house of cards. It's ridiculous. It's been due for a crash a long ass time ago, and it's gonna blow up in everybody's faces. And I believe that that's going to happen relatively soon, perhaps maybe in 2017, at the very latest. And that, yeah.
Damn. Well, I mean, so people are already getting back on the assassination topic.
Mm-hmm.
People are already getting arrested for, you know, threats, which is good.
Oh, yeah. Well, because I mean, how big of a moron do you have to be? I mean, there's a lot of morons out there. Yeah, they're all threatening Donny Boy and all this ridiculous stuff. And yeah, what do you think is going to happen? Obviously, the Secret Service is going to knock on your fucking door and be like, what the hell? Obviously. I mean, what do you think? You're threatening the frickin' president. What do you think?
Explain this.
Hmm?
They're like, can you explain this message, you know?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, exactly. It's just, you know, people just getting tricked by propaganda and then trying to express their anger and emotion into words. And if that's how they feel about it, I mean, this is the same people that get tricked so easily into the propaganda media and all kinds. So they listen to all this. They get tricked by this. They get tricked by that. What makes you think that they're smart enough to not do anything stupid? Of course they're gonna do something stupid, like try to say something like that about Donny Boy. It's outrageous.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So, anyways, I think I'm gonna call it good on that one. Thanks for having me on, and you have a good rest of your night.
Hey, thank you very much, Totally Tim. You have a great evening.
Yeah, you too.
Have a great weekend. Take care.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, thank you very much. Totally Tim, that was a very good conversation. Thank you. So, yeah. I mean, pretty much we're in hiatus right now because, you know, in the process of being elected. And the establishment is freaking out. They don't know what to do. And, you know, hopefully Donny Boy, when he gets inaugurated, we start doing some stuff and start making some moves. Because it's time to make America great again. And it's time to really, you know, start doing actual real things. And as Totally Tim mentioned earlier, that, you know, the whole world is recepting that. So, it's very good. Yep. All right. Well then, I believe this concludes tonight's show. Any last callers? Go ahead. And I think we might just call this a wrap. So thank you very much. Everybody have a great evening and weekend. And Geezy Truth News is out. Have a great weekend. Geezy Truth News! Late!